Good morning. I hope this finds you well. I hope that everyone was able to get a good night's sleep, get some rest. I hope you're going to enjoy the day. It's a little bit cloudy here in Pittsburgh right now, but it's supposed to, really fairly end up being a nice day. So I want to thank everyone again for just how kind you guys are to me. It's insane. I have over 500 people following my business now. And I had only, I think, like 187 following my business 3 days ago. So it's been absolutely insane, the growth that I've seen of my business. So this morning, what we're going to be doing is this is going to be a very free form art activity. Okay. I don't want anyone to feel like they need to follow this exact step by step. They need to make it look exactly like this, because this is going to be very much based on what you have on hand in your own home. Okay. Fortunately, with my business and with my profession, many people give me their craft supplies when they clean out their craft closets. So I always end up with a plethora of really fun, animated looking random objects around my house. Please keep them coming. If you're ever cleaning out your craft closet and you need a place to stuff a whole ton of scrapbook paper, I would love to take it. So, all right. So let's get started, because I have two separate puppets here. This project came out of the fact that my daughters have decided that one of the ways that we are going to spend the time over the next 2 days is they are going to be creating and putting on a puppet show. So I had the thought of, why don't we actually make puppets? So I started playing around with the materials that I had in my house. Now, this right here, this one is made out of this mesh. You can get it at craft stores for less than $1 a sheet, I think. And it's really fun because I used to use this growing up. I used to do yarn drawings with it. You used to be able to sew with yarn inside these, and that was really fun. And then this, I decided to make out of a vanilla wafer box, okay? So I'm gonna walk you through this. The biggest thing that we're going to be looking at is we're going to be looking at how a body is constructed, okay? So very similar to how we make stick figures. So once you decide what kind of doll you want to make based on what materials you have, and I already did promise that I'm going to be using this wire. This is just some very thin gauged wire that I had in my house. This wire will cut really easily with scissors. So for my demonstration today, I am going to use a few pipe cleaners, but I do want to make sure that you guys see how you can use wire as well, especially if it's thin. So let me cut a section off here. And this wire is so thin that I'm going to have to make the choice to double it. So I'm going to twist it all the way down. If you don't mind, as you're watching today, I would love to know from the parents, what are you doing for self-care right now? I don't know about you, but having the kids at home all the time has now created it a lot more difficult for me to get anything done around the house that I was getting done as of a few days ago. So I don't know. I'd just love to know from the parents, what are you doing to take care of yourself right now? All right. So what you're going to do is you are going to start cutting out the different pieces that you want for your character. Okay. Now my girls will be putting on a play for us on Friday night. They want to do a puppet show. We happen to get a puppet stage out of a neighbor's trash earlier this week. Talk about impeccable timing. So you're going to cut your cardboard just to whatever size that you need it. And if you ever had paper dolls growing up, you're going to use this a lot like paper dolls. So I'm going to make a pair of shorts. So I just cut a square and then cut a triangle out to create the split in the shorts. Okay. Now I'm going to use my hole punch. You might actually hear my kids. The natives are restless downstairs. So if you hear crying, I mean, y'all get it. So, all right. So I'm using the hole punch so that I can create joints, because the reason that a puppet works is because it has joints very similar to a person's joints. So instead of this being a solid body, I made it so that it can bend at the waist. And the other thing that I did, and we'll get to this in a minute, is that I use these buttons so that when he is bouncing and walking, he can actually make noise as well. So I made sure to have hip joints and knee joints and shoulder joints. Okay. So I'm going to take my wire, and I don't think that this needs to be quite as long as it is. So if it was a pipe cleaner, I would be doing the exact same thing with a pipe cleaner. And I'm going to layer those together and then give it a quick twist. These puppets are going to be really fun to see how creative you guys get with what you've found in your house. If you have littles and you're worried about the edges of the wire, I don't have any with me at the moment, like within arm's reach, but get a piece of tape and just put a piece of tape over that wire to keep your kids' fingers safe. So now I can twist this. I may actually work on this side today because it's a little bit less distracting than all that yellow. Okay. So now from here, I could take markers. I could color this in. I could create some sort of t-shirt design. Okay. So now for the arms. Now this was how I did the arms and heads. And this is what I really wanted to demo up here because I did the exact same method on both of these. So I did ask you to have some buttons on hand. I'm going to find the largest button that I can for his head. That one's still a little bit small because I cut it a little bit bigger than yesterday, but you guys get the picture. And what I did was I took my pipe cleaner, and both of these buttons had holes on the back. This one does not. So I will lace the pipe cleaner, or you can use wire, whatever's working for you. So remember, this activity, again, this has a lot to do with what's going on in my own house even. My kids, they watch the videos later in the day, and when they watch it, they're creating a puppet show for us. And so we're going to actually be using this puppet show, or these puppets for our puppet show tomorrow night. So what I did was I laced that through. And then there's so much twisting in this lesson. I'm going to twist this to create the neck. Okay. So now I've got my head. Oh, I went out of focus. Sorry. There we go. All right. I'm going to use this as my head. And again, I could use Sharpies because look, now that's become the nose. Let me twist that just a little bit so that now I have a nose. And I don't think I have a Sharpie within reach. So I'd use a Sharpie, eyes, mouth, okay? I could also use another pipe cleaner on the back. This is another STEAM lesson like what we were talking about yesterday. And I could loop this around and make hair. Maybe I want to make some hair like that, make a ponytail. So I can twist that around there. Do you guys see how I looped that around? And then I'm going to bend this back and forth to make it into a little ponytail for her. Ooh, pigtails. Let's do that. Oh my goodness, how cute is that? Okay. So I've got this head and I've made some hair for it. Okay, this was a lot of sculpting, feeling it out with my fingers. I'm going to use my hole punch punch out both sides. So now all I've got to do, because we're going to pretend like this is our shoulder joints, and truthfully, our shoulder sockets are round. So if I'm ever doing a gesture drawing, I always draw circles for the shoulders. And I can actually loop those through there. And now my puppet has arms, okay? My kids, see, I didn't actually form these into a particular kind of puppet because that's all going to depend on what you want to do in your own home. My kids, we are going to be tying yarn on the two hands here and here, and we're going to make a big loop of yarn. And that's what we're going to use to control the puppet when we're doing it on stage, okay? So yes, she is very floppy right now, but that's okay. So then, let's say that I'm going to go back to the wire. I'm going to kind of use half and half. Let's say that you don't have pipe cleaners and you're using wire for this. There's nothing that can't say that you can't wrap some fabric around the wire to make it thicker, okay? If you have a hot glue gun at home, you could do a lot with a hot glue gun on this project. Some adult supervision probably required. I am by no means a safety expert when it comes to hot glue guns. So again, if someone gets burned because I gave wrong advice, my apologies. Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing with the feet that I did for the shoulder joints, where I'm going to twist this wire because I used a thinner wire. If you have a thicker wire, let's say that you have a thick wire that is really hard to twist and mold. Ooh, if you have any like electrical wire lying around, boy, that sounded really dangerous. This has turned into like what not to do at home episode 4. But if you have like some plastic coated wire, that would work really well for this. So maybe seeing what you've got in your house, in your shop. Okay. So I want to show you guys making the little feet so that he can tap dance. So I'm just going to take this wire and twist it around the bottoms that got those little wiry legs. Oh, I did that backwards. I want that loose end. So I'm going to twist the top end. All right. So to make the feet, what I did, and you could do hands the same way, you're going to want to pick 2 buttons, maybe similar in size. If you have kids like my kids, they'll be like, oh, why should we have anything look the same? So just let your kids kind of drive the boat on that one. All right, so I'm going to take my wire and I'm actually going to flip my wire over the edge. So what it's going to do, it's going to come in one hole and then it's going to flip over the edge and sit on top. So that way the foot becomes flat. Okay. And the reason that I'm calling these puppets is because they're so loose. So they've got a lot of really good give to them. And then put the wire through one hole, wrap it around the front. All right. Now, this is as basic as it gets right here. So there are so many ways that I could take this so much further. Why couldn't we cut fabric and put fabric on top of this? Okay. Why couldn't we add props and put props in their hands? Okay. Big bow on the head. I have a feeling that my kids are going to be doing this for a few hours today. I don't know about you guys, but yesterday with the mazes, it kept my kids busy for an hour and a half making their mazes and then running marbles through them. So I will say they got frustrated with the glue boxes, which kind of cracked me up because they said these don't work. So there was a lot of tape involved, but that's okay. All right. So now our puppet is ready to go. again, if you're joining me a little bit later, the way my kids are going to be doing these for our puppet show is we're going to take some yarn and we're just going to tie yarn from one hand to the other, and then they can actually use that yarn to control the puppet. And look at how much movement you get out of the feet while you're using the yarn on the top. Okay. Now, I want to show you guys tomorrow's project. I am insanely pumped about this. I saw someone use this method on Instagram and it was incredibly cool. So we are going to be doing foil painting tomorrow. So for tomorrow, you're going to need some foil. And just as a sneak peek, this is what we're making. We're going to be making peaceful landscapes tomorrow. So come ready, bring a Sharpie, bring your markers. So you're going to need Sharpie, markers, foil, and then this is the real kicker. Are you guys ready for this? Either a spray bottle of water or window cleaner, okay? If you have a spray bottle of water, that will actually be better. But I don't have a spray bottle of water. So I said, what do I have in my house? So I tested it out with window cleaner and it worked. So mine is a vinegar based. So if yours is ammonia based, I will see if I can try to test it out with ammonia based before tomorrow. But I am really looking forward to spending time with you guys. Thank you so much for watching today. I will be in touch. I will be available throughout the day if you have any questions about creating your puppets. And I look forward to seeing all of you tomorrow. Have an absolutely fabulous day. Bye.